Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
So for the last several months, we've been doing things very organized, genre-based and all that. Today, it's just going to be all over the road, a mixed bag, starting with one of my favorite shows, the X-1 presentation of A Pail of Air. We'll have Orson Welles and the Lives of Harry Lime. We'll have an episode of the Jack Benny Show, one of those master recordings from the original transcription session before it got edited for air. We'll also have an episode of Gangbusters and The Adventures of Jungle Jim. Yeah, we're all over the place on this Sure Happy It's Thursday, 28th day of March, 88th day of the year. In occupied France on this date in 1942, British naval forces raided the German-occupied port of Saint-Nazaire. In 1946, the State Department released the Acheson-Lilienthal Report outlining a plan for international control of nuclear power. In 1979, in Pennsylvania, a pump in the reactor cooling system failed in the 3 Mile Island accident, resulting in the evaporation of some contaminated water, causing a nuclear meltdown.
From the high radiation readings that are being measured inside the reactor containment, we have to assume that there has been some damage to the nuclear fuel in the reactor core. However, we are not able at this time to assess what the nature of the damage is or what the extent of it is.
I'm sure that some of them got some exposure, but I am positive that no one was overexposed.
There was a problem in a feed water pump that resulted in the shutdown of the reactor of unit number 2 at 3 Mile Island. In the course of that happening, we followed the normal precautionary emergency procedures, notifying the various agencies of the state and local governments.
Metropolitan Edison Company spokesman telling people not to be alarmed over the accident, but one worker said he was done.
I think after this, I'll think twice about coming back here to work, to be honest with you. You know, scares me. It scares the hell out of me.
Now, the government spent almost 15 years cleaning up the mess, a price tag of over $1 billion in 1994 when the cleanup was over. Today, that would be almost $2.1 billion with a B dollars. And I still think that nuclear power, it's got its problems. And if government and private industry would work more on the safety aspect of it, my goodness, wouldn't that be good? Wouldn't that be good? President George Herbert Walker Bush posthumously awarded Jesse Owens the Congressional Gold Medal on this date in 1990. And in 2000, a Murray County, Georgia school bus got hit by a freight train. 3 children died from the accident. Among those passing away on this date in history, actor James Noble. You remember him as Governor Gatlin in the television show Benson. Also, the banjo player Earl Scruggs, Foggy Mountain Breakdown, yeah. Game show host Art James, very underappreciated in his day. Emmett Kelly, a wonderful clown, passing away on this date. Passing away on this date in 1969. Best known for his war exploits, President number 34, Dwight David Eisenhower. He left office. He offered a warning to the American people.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes.
And we have done that far too much in our time. Getting involved in all of these foreign entanglements far too early. we don't need to be dealing with it until it comes to affect us. President Eisenhower, Dwight David Eisenhower, passing away on this date in history. Among those born on this date who are no longer with us include the band leader Paul Whiteman, such sweet music. Also, Marlon Perkins, The Wild Kingdom. Composer Jay Livingston, you know him best as he composed the music for Tammy, Silver Bells, and Buttons and Bows. Jay Livingston, born on this date. Also, actor Dirk Bogart. The White Shadow on television, Ken Howard. And Mr. Perfect, pro wrestler Kurt Hennig, all a second-generation wrestler, all born on this date in history.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
I don't think Reba would appreciate that characterization, Jeff. Reba McEntire, 69 years old today. If you ever watched that TV show Red Dwarf, Chris Berry is 64 today. Actor Vince Vaughn is 54. From Pacific Blue, former beauty queen Shanna Moakler is 49. From 10 Things I Hate About You and Save the Last Dance for Me, Julia Stiles, 43. Lady Gaga is 38, and I will tell you, she's quite the musician. She really is. The early stuff did not serve her well for a lot of people today, because I think she's a much better musician than she ever let herself be in the early going. And from Spider-Man Homecoming, Laura Harrier is 34. Those just a few of the people who celebrate the 28th day of March as their birthday. And if this happens to be your birthday,
happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
And we'll start off on this mixed bag show by going to one of my favorite shows from 68 years ago, March 28, 1956, X-1, and A Pail of Air. I'm Wyatt Cox. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Remember, the government ruling is you must register your tires or you cannot get any gas. So act tomorrow to register yours.
Now, I know some of you are not science fiction fans who listen to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. I get it. You're turned off to the genre. I get that. But I'd like to ask those of you who are critical of the genre to do me a favor. Turn off the lights. Stop doing everything else. Sit back and listen to this show for the next 30 minutes, because I did the first time I listened to this. I was in my car, as I remember, driving around Kansas City and listening to a radio station out of St. Joseph, Missouri, who was carrying the golden age of radio theater. That ran this show. And I want to encourage you, don't be listening in a brightly lit room. Turn off the lights. Sit back and listen and take the show in. And I think you'll appreciate the pain that this show can evoke and the joy it can evoke. 68 years ago, March 28, 1956, X-1, A Pail of Air.
In just a moment, X-1. But first, if you're planning to join the family for this holiday weekend, remember you have a friend who will keep you company through the long hours on the road. That friend is your car radio, and it brings you a full weekend of the most stimulating variety entertainment when you tune in to NBC's Monitor. Yes, you set your dial just once for hours and hours of refreshing variety. News as it happens, sports coverage, everything from baseball to skin diving, interviews with the stars. Plus, lots of the relaxing music you like to hear. It's all on Monitor this weekend. And now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC. Countdown for blast-off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight's story, A Pail of Air, by Fritz Leiber.
It was pretty quiet in the nest. Pa was just sitting by the fire, staring into it like he does these days. And Ma was asleep. That's why it was so quiet. Ma has some pretty bad times when she just screams and huddles back against the blankets that line the nest. Sis was looking at herself in the mirror that hangs next to the bookshelf. I don't know what she finds to look at so long, but then she's a girl. She just looks at herself. Saturdays, when Pa puts a couple of extra lumps of coal on the fire and we take a bath, she looks at herself in the mirror and sometimes she cries. I dropped the book I was reading, and I guess that woke Ma.
Huh? What? What?
Pick up the book, Bud.
I'm sorry, Pa.
It's come back. Hasn't it, Alfred? It's come back.
It was just Bud. He dropped his book.
Oh, but it's come back. Why, it's out there now, isn't it? I feel a lot warmer.
No, Ethel.
It's up there in the sky. Just the way it always was. I know. I had a dream, Alfred.
I know, dear. Sis, melt your mother a cup of water.
I'm combing my hair.
Sis.
Oh, all right.
Got to get up. I know it's there. There'll be crocuses. And the spring bulbs. And daffodils.
What are daffodils, Ma?
Well, Buddy, they're a flower. And they're very pretty. Yellow. On a tall green stalk. Oh, I want to go out. I want to take the children out.
All right now, Ethel. Here's some water.
Come on, children. We'll all go out and you can play in the sun.
Sure, Ma.
Here, drink the water, Ma.
It's cold, Alfred. You rap on the pipes and make that super send up some more heat.
What's a super, Pa?
It doesn't matter, Bud. There aren't any anymore.
Oh.
Pa, the pail's running low.
Bud, you better get into your things and go out and get an extra pail of air.
There are a couple of pails behind the first blankets.
Go on, get into your things.
It isn't back, is it?
No, it isn't.
There's no sun in the sky. No sun, is there?
No, Ma. What was it like?
The sun.
Sis, don't get your ma upset.
The sun was yellow. And so bright you couldn't look at it. Burning hot. So hot. But when you stretched out in it, it made you feel warm all over. Tingly warm. It's been so long since I've been that warm.
I was warm last year on my birthday when Pa put all that extra coal on.
And then every morning it would come out of the east. Make the clouds all pink and yellow. And the mist would rise in the ground, and then slowly everything would glow warmer, warmer. And then it would be up there in the sky, shining, warm.
Hurry up, Bud.
I'm almost ready, Pa.
I want the sun. I want the sun back. Alfred, get me the sun.
It's gone, Ethel. There's nothing I can do.
For Christmas? On my birthday?
Go ahead, Bud. Take the big pail and get it full this time. There's no sense in taking the trip for only half a bucket of air.
I spilled it the last time.
It's dark, Alfred, it's dark.
Go ahead, Bud. Strap down the helmet, will you, sis?
For goodness sake, stand up straight.
Okay. All right, I'll be right back.
Don't hold the blankets open too long. All right, Ethel. We're all safe. Bud will be right back with another pail of air. It's all right.
I went through the 30 or so blankets that Pa hung up to slow down the air escaping from the nest. Of course, I knew the way. I've been going out for air since I was a kid. Still, I get a funny, crawly feeling every time I go out of the nest. You gotta go up to the 5th floor, which is just above the blanket of frozen air. You see, when the earth got cold, all the water in the air froze first and made a blanket about 10 feet thick or so, and then down on top of that dropped all the crystals of frozen air, making another blanket 60 or 70 feet thick. I came out of the window we use on the 5th floor and started to scoop up the air into my pail. I had it about full. Boy, my fingers are getting pretty cold when I saw something. Hey, that's a light. Oh, darn it, I kicked over the bucket. Oh, there can't be a light. Not moving around in a window like that. There can't be. Ma and Pa and Sis are back in the nest. I'm up here, and there can't be anyone else. Everybody on Earth is dead except us. I had an idea how Ma must feel sometimes, the way she sees things. But there it was, moving around in the building across the way. I stood there shaking, and I almost froze my feet. I did frost my helmet so solid on the inside I couldn't see anything. So I hurried up and scooped up another bucket of air and headed back for the nest as fast as I could. Pa, I saw something.
Go on, hang those outside clothes up by the fire.
Phew. Pa, I saw something, I did.
Your mother's quiet now. Don't upset her.
Pa, it was a light.
Wait till I get this air next to the fire. Give me the cloth, Sis.
Shall I put another lump of coal on, Pa?
No. The oxygen from this bucket will get the fire up when it begins to melt. There.
Pa, I'm trying to tell you, I saw something up there. Light.
There's lots of lights. Stars.
I know what stars look like, Dopey. They're big, steady white lights in the sky. This was down here in a building.
What is it? Alfred, what is it?
Nothing, Ethel. Now, what is this, Bud?
Well, first I thought it was a lady. A young lady. I mean it. Like in one of those old magazines. I thought I saw it in a window. But then all I saw was a light.
You watched it for some time, son?
Long enough for it to pass 5 windows and go to the next floor.
And it didn't look like stray electricity?
No, Pa, I know what that looks like.
Or a star refracted through an icicle? Sometimes if you catch it at the right angle, it...
Pa, honest, I never saw anything like it before.
Huh. All right. I'll go out with you and you show me.
No, Alfred. You can't go and leave us alone, not both of you.
It's all right. We'll be right back.
Here's your helmet, Pa.
There's something out there. I've always known there was something out there waiting to get us.
Hand me my glove.
Something that's part of the cold, hates all warmth, wants to destroy the nest. Been watching us all this time. Now it's coming after us, and it'll get you, and then it'll come for me. Oh, don't go. Alfred, please don't go.
Everything will be all right. Now, Sis.
Yes, Pa?
You come watch the fire. Keep an eye on that air, too. If it gets too low or doesn't seem to be boiling fast enough, get another bucket behind the blanket.
Alfred, don't go.
I'll take care of it, Pa. Could there really be anybody out there?
I don't see how. We heard the last radio voices a year before Bud was born. There hasn't been anything since then.
Then what could it be?
I don't know. Probably just a reflection. An ice crystal cracking. Come on, Bud. Get your helmet on.
It's funny. When I go out alone, I'm not scared or anything. But when I go out with Pa, I always hang on to his belt like I used to when I was a little kid. Habit, I guess. It's the same no matter what trip we take. On the 5th floor, we stopped to rest just before we went out. We were in the room with the frozen people. The lady sitting looking at the door. The man holding his hands over that funny metal thing Pa calls a radiator. It was like a fire, I guess, but I don't see any place for the coal. We put our helmets together so we could talk.
Catch your breath, son.
Pa, would it be possible, for any of the frozen people to come to life? Like the ones down in the basement around the furnace when we go for water?
No, they're dead. They were caught too quickly when it happened.
Oh, Pa, how do we know we're the only ones?
We don't, but, well, there's a feeling you get, because it's always night. There used to be some of that feeling every night in the old days, but the sun chased it away every morning. You wouldn't know about that. You weren't born when the dark star pulled us away from the sun. You wouldn't know unless you'd seen the sun.
I've seen the sun. It's that big star at the end of the Big Dipper. I've seen it.
It isn't the same. Come on. They're wasting time.
I don't know what the city looked like in the old days, but now it's beautiful. The starlight lets you see it pretty well. We're up on a hill, and the plain slopes down away from us. Some taller buildings push up out of the feathery plain, topped by rounded caps of air crystals. Some of them are on a slant because a lot of the buildings are badly twisted by the quakes and everything when a dark star pulled the earth away from the sun. That's why Pa can't seal up the nest airtight. The building's twisted too bad. Besides, we have to keep the chimney open. We touched our helmets together so we could talk.
Is that where you saw it, son?
It isn't there anymore.
Uh-huh.
But it feels different. As if there's something out here, waiting.
Bud, if you see something like that again, don't tell the others.
Huh? Why not?
Well, your ma's sort of nervous these days, and we owe her all the feeling of safety we can give her. Once it was when your sister was born, I was ready to give up and die, but your mother kept me trying. Another time, she kept the fire going a whole week all by herself when I was sick.
She couldn't do that now. Not the way she is.
But you know that game we sometimes play, tossing a ball around? Well, courage is like a ball. A person can hold it only so long, and then he's got to toss it to someone else. When it's tossed your way, you've got to catch it and hold it tight, and hope there'll be someone else to toss it to when you get tired of being brave.
Yeah, I guess so.
Come on. We'll fill up the pails and get back.
But what about whatever it is out here?
We'll just have to wait and see. Come on. Before the helmets frost over.
It's pretty hard to hide your feelings in the nest. There's just room for the four of us. The blanket overhead just touches when Pa stands up straight. The floor's all covered with thick woolly rugs. Pa says it's inside a much bigger room, but I've never seen the real walls or ceiling. Well, anyway, Pa laughed and kidded about what I'd seen. He said I had an imagination, but we could tell he took it serious. It was Sunday morning by the clocks that Pa kept all wound up on the shelf. So it was time for the story. We all sat around in a circle the way we always do, except I noticed that Pa casually took a hammer from the shelf and put it beside him. I always liked the story. Of course, Sis and I know it by heart by now. Every Sunday since we were kids. But every once in a while, Pa surprises us by telling it a little different, or throwing in some extras. It starts out with a song. Ma used to sing it, but she forgets the words sometimes. And now Pa sings it mostly.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, thy purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain.
Of course, the words don't mean anything. The skies are spacious enough, but there aren't any waves of grain, and the plain is all covered with a blanket of frozen air. But it's part of the story ceremony, and Pa likes it. He says it reminds him of the old days. After the song, Pa starts the story.
In the days of my youth, the sun hung above, golden and warm, and the earth was fruitful and multiplied, and the fields were green, and the day was glorious, and the wind blew across the hilltops, and air was free and good to breathe.
That's the part of the story I like best, about how it was with the sun nice and warm. It's hard to believe, all those people living without having to worry about cold and air, never waking up sweating and screaming because you dreamed the fire went out. It's impossible to believe, but Pa was a good storyteller, and he made it seem real.
And then the dark star came rushing out of space. In the beginning, they tried to keep the news from the people, but when the floods and the earthquake started, the truth came out. At first, they thought the dark star would hit the sun, and then they were afraid it would strike the earth itself. But it didn't. It only came close.
Pa tells it like the sun and the dark star fought for the earth like two dogs over a bone. I know what he means, because I've seen a picture of a dog in a magazine. And then the dark star won and carried us off. But the sun kept the moon. There were earthquakes and floods. Pa says that mountains fell and oceans slopped over. Oceans, that's a lot of melted water lying around loose. It's hard to imagine. Pa says it was so. Then came the open question time in the story. Sis asked a question about what girls wore for clothes. And I asked Pa how people acted in those days when the earth was twisted and jerked almost apart.
Well, Bud, I was too busy to notice much. A friend of mine, Dr. Weisbrot, and Kelly, the geophysicist, and Walters, the astronomer, we knew what was going to happen. And we were working to fix up a place with airtight walls and insulation and big supplies of food and bottled air. But the place got smashed up in the earthquakes, and they were all killed. So I put the nest together at the last minute in the living room of our apartment. It's a 4-room apartment.
You must have seen some of the people, like the frozen ones downstairs.
At that time, Bud, I only thought of one thing. Your mother and survival. If I had stopped to think, I wouldn't have even tried to make the nest. It would have seemed ridiculous. Blankets and a coal fire against the cold and vacuum of space. But I didn't think. I survived.
I wasn't listening carefully as Pa went on about the building of the nest. I kept thinking about something else. About that light I'd seen outside. I kept asking myself, what if the frozen people were coming to life? What if they were like the liquid helium that crawls toward heat when it should be frozen solid? What if something were coming from the dark star to get us? Something making the frozen people move, not by themselves. That would fit with what I'd seen. A young lady's face and the moving light. I sat there and shivered, thinking of the frozen people with minds from the dark star creeping, crawling, snuffing their way, following the heat to the nest. And then, over from beyond the blankets, I thought I heard a tiny noise.
So I asked myself then, what's the use of going on? Why prolong a doomed existence of hard work and cold and loneliness? The human race is done. The earth is done. Why not give up, I asked myself.
And then I did hear the noise, louder this time. A kind of shuffling tread coming closer.
And then I got the answer. The Earth's always been a lonely place millions of miles from the next planet. And no matter how long the human race might have lived, the end would have come some night. Those things don't matter. What matters is that life is good. There's a lovely texture, like some rich cloth of fur or the petals of flowers. Crocuses, daffodils, or the fire's glow. And that's as true for the last man as the first.
Still, those steps kept shuffling closer. Pa was talking, and Ma was dreaming with her eyes closed, and Sis was looking at herself sideways in the mirror. And I was the only one who heard the noise. A noise outside.
So right then and there, I told myself that I was going on as if we had all eternity ahead of us. I'd have children, and I'd teach them all I could. I'd get them to read books, try to enlarge and seal the nest. I'd try to keep everything beautiful and alive. I'd keep alive my feeling of wonder, even at the cold and the dark and the distant stars.
Pa, I hear.
I know.
What is it, Alfred? What is it? What's going on? Oh, you've got to tell me.
Pa, I'm scared.
Quiet. But you heard it?
Uh-huh. Kind of shuffling, coming toward the nest.
Sis, take care of your mother.
It's all right, Ma. Lie down. Come on.
I'll take the hammer. You take the hatchet.
What is it, Pa? What is it?
I don't know. Listen.
It's closer.
Mush.
Pa, the blanket is moving. Ready with your axe.
Hello? Who's there? Is there somebody in there?
Come in. It's all right.
They're alive. Alive.
Who are you?
Alfred Hutchinson. Dr. Alfred Hutchinson. You can take off your helmets in here.
But the air.
We have air.
We bring it in pails.
Come on, Ralph. Let's take off the helmets.
It's impossible.
Where are you from? We thought we were the only ones.
Los Alamos.
The nuclear laboratory.
Yes, that's right. We get our power from the reactor, using the stockpile of bombs for fuel.
Then there are others. There are other men. There are other men.
Pa, is it all right? Should I put the axe down?
Yes, it's all right. You can put it down.
You mean you come from another nest?
It's a little bigger than this. We've got a small airtight city with airlocks.
We generate our electricity, food from hydroponics.
I can't believe it. I can't.
I can't believe this. It's impossible. You can't maintain an air supply without hermetic sealing. It's impossible.
Oh, no, it's simple. As long as you keep the fire going to melt the air, and enough air boiling to keep the fire burning.
How did you come here? Why?
Well, we keep scouting around for survivors. There are a number of colonies, Brookhaven, Oak Ridge, and Harwell in England, and the Argonne Laboratory in France. We didn't expect to find anything in this city, though. But our detectors picked up a heat trace, so we tracked it down.
Alfred, you're forgetting your manners. We have company.
Of course. Sis, throw a handful of coal on the fire.
Pa, a whole handful?
Doesn't matter now. And Bud, bring out another pail of air.
Well, it's incredible.
And you have laboratories and transport?
We only have a two-seater Scout, but if we rip out the bulkhead to the storage compartment, we can make it all right.
We can have you back at Los Alamos in 4 hours.
What's the matter?
I guess we really hadn't thought about it that way.
But, I wouldn't know how to act there. And besides, I haven't any clothes.
Just doesn't seem right to let this fire go out. It's been 18 years. Burning every minute.
But you can't stay here.
Ralph.
But after all...
Ralph.
Oh. Look, Dr. Hutchinson, we'll go out to the ship and bring back a small power heater. I know this is very sudden and upsetting to you. You need a chance to adjust. We'll be back in a few minutes. It's incredible. In buckets, air in buckets.
Well,
They didn't think the nest smelled so good. I could tell.
She had a wave in her hair. Did you see that? And lipstick.
I suppose we have to decide what to do.
Pa, at Los Alamos and those other places, there'll be lots of people, won't there?
Yes,
I mean, not just your father or a brother.
that's right.
Boys?
I suppose so. But somehow I feel a little empty.
Alfred, it's different now that we know others are alive. You don't have to feel the responsibility for keeping the human race going.
Pa, I'd like to see those rockets and laboratories. Wouldn't you, Pa?
I suppose so.
It won't be easy leaving the nest. I mean, it's just right, and there's only 4 of us. It's kind of a scary idea. Big place with a lot of strangers.
You'll get over that feeling, son. The trouble with the world was that it kept getting smaller and smaller till it ended with just the nest. Now it'll be good to have a real, huge world again. The way it was in the beginning.
And so, we're gonna leave the nest in the morning. By Pa's clocks. We've got the power heater going now. Seems funny to be this warm when it isn't Christmas or somebody's birthday. But still, it's hard for me to realize that this is the last time I'll go out of the nest, through all the blankets, to get a pail of air.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy's science fiction magazine, which this month features the Edward M. Ludwig story, A Coffin for Jacob. With never a moment to rest, the pursuit through space felt like a game of hounds and hares. Or was it Follow the Leader? Galaxy magazine on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you A Pail of Air, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Fritz Leiber and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were Ronnie Liss, Pamela Fitzmaurice, Richard Hamilton, Eleanor Phelps, Rita Lloyd, and Joe DeSantis. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
And now an important announcement for the listeners of X-1. Beginning next week, X-1 will be heard over most of these stations at a new time, Tuesdays at 8:30 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget, listen next Tuesday from 8:30 to 9 p.m. for X-1. Monitor takes you everywhere this weekend on the NBC Radio Network.
An amazing show, one I truly enjoyed for a very long time. X-1 and A Pail of Air. You're listening to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Up next, Orson Welles in The Lives of Harry Lime. Tomorrow on our podcast, we'll have westerns, Have Gun Will Travel and Gunsmoke. We'll have dramas with yours truly, Johnny Dollar and the Mysterious Traveler, and an episode of Claudia. That's all coming up here on our Friday edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. But right now, in a moment, The Lives of Harry Lime.
Extra, extra paper. Get your paper here.
Yeah, it says here in the paper folks are shouting for sugar. If you ask me, they ought to give it to us. No sense of the sugar rationing anyway.
Yeah, a lot of foolishness. Why, they say the warehouses are full of it.
Yeah, I guess those fellas down in Washington can't think of anything better to do. If you want to know what I think, the sugar rationing business is all the bunk.
Have you heard that kind of talk? Don't be misled by it. The
The truth is that although sugar imports have improved somewhat in the last several months, ship sinkings off our Atlantic coast have increased. Remember this. The next time you hear someone say that sugar rationing is unnecessary, a wise person does not spend his entire check on the day he gets paid. A wise nation does not eat up its reserve stocks in wartime. It rations them to make them last as long as possible. Sugar rationing is necessary.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, Orson Welles in the prequel to the Third Man motion picture, The Lives of Harry Lime. This episode from 72 years ago today, March 28th, 1952, Pleasure Before Business.
Presenting Orson Welles as the Third Man. The Lives of Harry Lime, the fabulous stories of the immortal character originally created in the motion picture The Third Man, with zither music by Anton Karas.
You know, there are two kinds of men who should be wary and suspicious of women. The serious businessman, because women can be so frivolous, and the frivolous seeker after pleasure, because women can be so serious. Now I, Harry Lime, am both a serious businessman of sorts and a seeker after pleasure, so perhaps I should avoid women entirely. But the trouble is, I just can't seem to do without them, for either. Sometimes life gets very complicated with business and pleasure. But interesting. Always interesting.
And now, Orson Welles as Harry Lime, the Third Man, in today's story, Pleasure Before Business.
It was in Venice, not long after the war was over, that I found myself with a problem on my hands. It wasn't the old Venetian one about finding a place to park my car. I had a very solid and sound business transaction all lined up, but I was sorely in need of what I called a partner, of what the police of several countries would have been pleased to refer to as an accomplice. Accordingly, I was highly pleased while strolling about among the pigeons and people in St. Mark's Square one day when I espied Joan Willoughby, who was standing there scattering bounty to the birds. Why, Joan Willoughby, how are you?
Harry Lime, what are you doing in Venice?
That's a question I was going to ask you.
Oh, me? Holiday. And you?
Business.
I'm glad to hear it. Ought to be able to make a bob or two tipping off the coppers.
Always were a heavy tipper, weren't you, my love? I need a partner.
Do you now? Girl?
Girl.
Dangerous?
No, not very.
Fun?
Lots.
Money in it?
Quite a bit.
Well, holidays can be quite boring, don't you think? What's the game this time, and do I need much of a wardrobe?
I'll tell you privately. Let's get out in the canal. Huh? Do you mind if we use a boat?
All right.
We rented a gondola and floated slowly down the Grand Canal. It was a handy bit of luck meeting Joan. She was an English girl, and as delicately simple and unassuming as roast beef and Yorkshire pudding. As beautiful as the English bone china, but with as much bite as English mustard on the side. She had the realism and the sound business sense of a robber baron. In the gondola, she trailed her hand in the water and waited for me to tell her what was up.
Well?
Joan, have you ever heard of somebody called the Count de la Robbia?
No.
Well, he's the usual Italian count, except that he's saved one or two things. Still has his palace, still has some valuable pictures, still has jewels.
And we're after the jewels.
We're after the jewels. He's a friend of mine. I've known him for at least 3 weeks.
He's still friends with you, Harry?
Mm-hmm. He likes me, he trusts me.
But?
Exactly, but I can't find out where he keeps the jewels. Oh, I might be able to in time if it weren't for this Rico.
At which point I say who or what is Rico?
Who he is doesn't matter. What he is matters greatly. He is, or seems to be, 7 feet tall.
A big stumbling block, Harry. Perfect description.
He's the Count's bodyguard. He's killed several men who've tried to cheat the Count. He does not like me, Rico.
And that's why you need me.
Exactly.
Do I work on the Count or Rico?
You work on the Count.
That's good.
I'll be the second story man on the job and try and distract his 7-foot shadow. All you have to do is find out where the jewels are kept.
You'll probably discover that they're kept in Rico's pocket.
No, I think that's where Rico keeps the Count.
Oh, you've got a fence?
Of course. I'll need to make me happy as a fence. Count's little ivy-covered palace, and you, my dear Joe.
What sort of split are you offering?
Shall we say 60-40?
We shall say 50-50.
Well...
50-50, Harry.
All right.
Fine. When do I meet the Count?
Tonight.
I can't wait.
I don't think you'll have to, my dear. So that was that. When I had the jewels in my hand, it would be time enough to inform Joan that the split would be 70-30. She was a sensible girl, and business, after all, is business. That night, I brought Joan to the cafe that I knew the Count frequented. He was there, all right, and so was Rico. We went directly to their table.
Ah, Mr. Lime, how are you?
Very well, thank you, Count. I'd like to present Miss Joan Willoughby, the Count de la Robbia.
How do you do?
Charmed, Miss Willoughby.
And, Rico.
Hello.
Rico? Rico what?
It's just Rico is enough.
Say it's enough.
You must sit down here, Miss Willoughby. You must share our table.
Why, thank you.
That's very good of you, Count.
Count de la Robbia.
Yes, Rico?
Does this man have to be here?
Of course he stays, Rico. Miss Willoughby, you are visiting our city?
Yes, it's the first time. Oh, I love it. But you know, you Italians all look so sad.
Our recent history has not been happy.
When I see someone, well, like you, Count, with big, black, sad eyes like yours, I say to myself, I want to do something to make that man happy.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure, Miss Willoughby, that I'm quite...
Yes. That's exactly what Joan is here for, Count. She just wants to lift all your cares.
I mean it, Harry. Count de la Robbia, there's nothing I'd like better than to get to know this beautiful city, really know it, and, well, some of the people.
Well, I think it might be possible to arrange.
Perhaps it's now the time for Mr. Lime to leave, Count.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Lime, but he is my keeper, my confidant, my advisor.
I'm sorry, too, old man, but Miss Willoughby has already agreed to ride in the rumble seat of my gondola tonight.
The English lady has said she wishes the Count to show Venice to her.
But she has an engagement with me, little friend of all the world.
Oh, Harry, don't be stuffy.
Count, I appeal to you now.
I'm unable to control Rico, you know, Mr. Lime.
Yes, I'm afraid I wouldn't know which button to push either.
Besides, Harry, I never met a Count before. I'm just full of questions about crests, coats of arms, and all that sort of thing.
Oh, just a moment. I have a suggestion. Perhaps even though I am showing the city to Miss Willoughby, perhaps Mr. Lime can stay with us.
An excellent idea, Count. It solves all our difficulties.
No.
Oh. No, Rico?
Rico says no.
No, Count. If this man is along, it will ruin the pleasure you and Miss Willoughby want to have. He leave.
Oh, he leaves, eh?
See.
Well, it looks like Rico's got my evening all planned.
Oh, don't feel too bad, Harry, darling.
Come.
Well, why argue, Joan? He's bigger than both of us.
I'm sorry, Mr. Lime, but with Rico I can do nothing.
I don't think I could do much either.
And I'm out of condition. Rico escorted me to the street with a grip on my forearm that wasn't cleared in my insurance policy. I didn't let the elation I felt show in my face until he'd gone back to join the others. Joan was punching away like Joe Louis, and the Count would be wide open for a sucker punch, but pronto. He called me the next evening.
Yeah? Mr. Lime? This is the Count de la Robbia.
Oh, yes. Hello, Count.
I'm sorry you couldn't be with us last night, but Rico, you know, has his prejudices.
Oh, I wouldn't cheat him out of one of them, old man.
That is a very charming girl, that Jonah Willoughby.
I think she is, yes.
I'm wondering where I can get in touch with her.
You didn't ask her?
No. Confidentially, I tried to find out, but she was somewhat coy about it. Do you think she likes me? Huh?
Well, I don't know. Of course, old man, I was only there for the preliminaries. I missed the main bout, but it seemed to me that she did. After all, she was willing to break her date with me.
That is true. I like her so very much. I was afraid to press my luck. Is that how you say it?
Yes, that's how you say it. You want me to press on for you?
I would be indebted if you would.
I'll try, Count, and I'll let you know if I find her.
Thank you, Mr. Lime. Goodbye.
Goodbye, old man.
Was that the Count, Harry?
Yeah. We've got him where we want him, Joan. He's looking all over Venice for you.
Is he now? Oh, the old dear.
I've told him I'll try to find you. I think it might take me at least 2 or 3 days, don't you?
Well, don't let it take too long.
I'm as anxious to get the jewels as you are, honey, but I think, you know, under the circumstances.
Yes, the jewels.
Dear lady, what do you mean, oh, yes, the jewels, with that tone of voice?
Nothing. He really was taken with me,
Of course he was. You're going to let him stay until he's ready to be taken in style.
Oh, he's such a shy old dear.
Dear enough to wait 3 days for him. The next night at the same cafe, I ran into the Count once more. He was mournfully staring into a glass of Chianti.
And you cannot find her, Mr. Lime?
Not yet. Of course, I don't know her too well, Count, but I'm still looking.
Look well, you. The Count has spoken. He wants you to see that girl.
I'm sure Mr. Lime is doing all he can, Rico.
Looking high and low, my dear Rico. Not as high as you, of course, but low. Yes, indeed, low.
Mr. Lime, this young lady means a great deal to me. You would not suspect it, but I am a lonely man. I have only Rico.
Well, personally, I think Rico is plenty.
Mind your tongue, Americano.
Considerate-minded, Tiny Tim.
She is so charming, and even though I am shy, she seems not to mind. Most girls do not like when a man suffers from being shy.
Well, Joan's a very sympathetic girl. She's suffered herself, you know.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. Her family was very wealthy, but during the war, when England was fighting for its very existence, she and her father poured their wealth into the war effort. Nothing mattered to them but patriotism.
Viva!
Viva! Yes, you're so right. After the war, nothing was left but Joan's jewels. And though jewels meant everything to us, they do to most women, she sold them without hesitation in order that her old father might eat.
Oh, that is very touching.
Yes, I have always thought so.
Jewels mean a great deal to her, eh?
Well, they did once, old man. She has none left now.
Jewels might win her heart.
Well, they might.
Mr. Lime, when you find her, I hope you will be able to persuade her to come to see me, no matter when it is, no matter what the time. Bring her to me even in the middle of the night, even to my palace.
The middle of the night, your palace. It's a date, old man. It's a I took him at his word, because there was nothing I'd like better than to have Joan in the Count's palace. First, of course, I briefed her on the little English history I invented about her. I let the Count ferment in his own grape juice. But finally...
See?
Mr. Lime, Rico, I've Joan Willoughby with me.
The English girl?
Hello, Rico.
Joan Willoughby! Open the door, Rico! Mr. Willoughby, it is such a pleasure. Hello, Mr. Lime. Come in, come in. This way. We will go to the drawing room.
Oh, this is a lovely place.
You will like it. We have still a few things of value here, saved from the war, saved from Mussolini. You see, this picture. Small, but beautiful, is it not?
Oh, it is very beautiful.
It's Tintoretto.
That small but beautiful picture must be worth a small but beautiful fortune, Count.
Always you are interested in the price of things, my friend.
Scarcely worth
it. It's What do you say, Count? Go right ahead.
It's scarcely worth a fortune. About 2,000 English pounds, I would say. But come, now, come this way.
Oh, dear.
Oh, why, what is the matter, Miss Willoughby?
This place.
I know, Joan. It reminds her of the home that she lost, Count.
Oh, Mr. Lime has told me about your family, Miss Willoughby. He has told me, too, about your jewels.
Oh, yes, my jewels. I shall never see them again.
Perhaps tonight I could show you my jewels. Perhaps you would like to see them.
Yes, that would probably cheer you up a great deal, wouldn't it, my dear?
If you wish.
Count de la Robbia.
Yes, Rico?
If you are to show the jewels, this man must believe.
Oh.
Our 7-foot duenna has spoken again.
In a way, Mr. Lime, Rico is right. The jewels are most valuable. It would be wrong of me to allow everybody to see them or see where I hide them.
I see. Or rather, the idea is I shouldn't see. Of course, with Miss Willoughby, it's different. Jewels are for women, and a Joe like myself hasn't the slightest curiosity about them. Canaletto, landscapes, or Hispana Suizas. As a man, I have to be on the lookout for bigger things.
You leave now.
Yes, Rico, you're one of those bigger things I keep an eye on. And so I left, knowing that Joan was going to accomplish her mission this night, and that soon, very soon, the long hand of fate and Rico permitting, we would be all set, as they say in another popular sport, ready to take the count.
In a moment, Orson Welles returns as Harry Lime, the third man. And now, Orson Welles as Harry Lime, the third man, continues today's story, Pleasure Before Business.
Back in my hotel room, I waited for Joan to return from the Count's palazzo and tell me how and where those jewels were keeping. I didn't merely twiddle my thumbs, of course. I twiddled my fingers on a phone and made reservations on several different trains and planes, because after I got the jewels, a strategic retreat from Venice and from the long arm of Rico would be definitely in order. Finally, quite late.
Hello, Harry, darling.
Did you find out where the jewels are kept?
Oh, let the girl catch her breath, will you?
That's small pickings, my dove. What else have you caught?
I've had a very interesting evening, Harry.
You sound like the local ladies' aid. Hope you learned something you can take home with you.
The Count is such a sweet old duck. He seems lonely, Harry.
Well, that's what you're there for, my Duchess. Now, what did you find out?
He's so grateful for a little attention. He likes to talk to people.
And did he whisper that sweet something in your ear about where his jewels are kept?
Oh, the jewels. Well,
Yes.
keeps them locked in a safe.
And that he's not unique. Now, look, Joan, where is the safe?
In the drawing room. It's too bad you never got to see the drawing room, Harry, because it's got one of the loveliest...
Safes, I know. Is it on the ground floor?
Yes.
Good, I can get in the window.
The furnishings in that room, oh, Harry...
Don't be greedy, dear. The jewels will have to do. Where exactly is the safe?
Oh, it's on the floor. It's built into the floor under the carpet. You should see the designs he's got on that carpet.
You should see the designs I've got on that safe. Well, what's the combination?
What's the funny thing about that? I didn't really notice the combination.
What?
I mean, consciously notice it, Harry. Consciously, yet... Well, the Count was talking, you see, while he opened it, and he was so interesting
His talk
that
was interesting, so you didn't make an effort to notice the combination?
That's right. You see, he was telling me about how his family had always had that space in the floor as a hiding place for centuries back, and he himself installed the modern safe there, he and Rico, because this was while Mussolini was ruling the country, and Pucci didn't trust...
Pucci? Oh, brother.
I call the Count Pucci.
Oh, isn't that dandy?
You know, Harry, he didn't trust the black shirt artisans he would have had to hire because Mussolini...
Joan.
What?
Combination to the safe, honey.
Oh, that?
Yes, that.
Oh. Well, I didn't notice it consciously, but you see, I've trained myself so well that subconsciously, well, here's the combination.
Good. A little more of that kind of stalling, my sweet, and you'll be having trouble with your Uncle Harry. This does it, Joan. I'll get the jewels tomorrow night.
I see. And I keep Pucci away from the palace for you.
Not on your life. I want him in that mausoleum when I take the jewels.
Oh, but Harry...
If he's out, there's always the chance he may come back and catch me. If he's in, and I wait until he's in bed, 2 stories above the drawing room, I'm pretty safe. 2 stories with me are as good as an alibi any time.
Oh, but Harry, I have a date with Pucci tomorrow night.
Joan, all I wanted you to do was to get the combination of the safe. You don't have to do any more work on Pucci Coochie. It counts.
Don't I, Harry? Don't I really?
No. Remember, on this job, you don't get time and a half for overtime. So I had to postpone the compounding of my little felony. I wanted the Count to be safely in bed when I tackled that safe. Dreamland was one place where he couldn't keep an eye on me. And if Joan had a date with him, it would be inadvisable for her to break it, that's all. Count mustn't be kept up at night worrying about Joan or anything else. Uneasy lies the head that wears a frown. Count must be kept in the mood for deep, happy slumber. So I let Joan keep her date, reflecting that one night more wouldn't matter. But the next night...
But I have a date with Pucci again tonight.
More smoochy with Pucci. Now, was that the last date? Pucci, it seemed, wanted to be a regular fellow with Joan, and she, every curved inch of her a woman, seemed willing to oblige. Finally, I told her that she had to refuse one date. Just one.
But Harry, darling, he shows me such a good time.
She did, however, refuse him the date, saying that she had to catch up on some correspondence. I think she meant writing letters. The next night, I watched the windows of the palace till all the lights had been turned out, and for some time afterwards, just to be on the safe side, which is precisely where I was heading. It was nearly 2 a.m. when I jimmied open the window of the Count's drawing room. Joan had told me exactly where to turn up the carpet. I did turn it up, and there was the safe, embedded in the floor. I checked the combination and went ahead, avoiding a temptation to whistle as I worked.
Harry.
The devil. Oh, Joan.
Harry, you mustn't take those jewels.
Whisper, can't you?
Don't take the jewels.
What are you talking about?
It isn't fair,
What
Harry.
isn't fair?
You're taking money from Pucci.
Pucci, schmoochie. Are you out of your mind?
You'd call it that, Harry Lime. I guess I'd call it love.
Call it anything as long as you whisper it. I'm getting out of here before friend Rico gets a crush on me.
You're not leaving like this, Harry Lime. You're not going to take those jewels.
No, I've heard everything.
I don't care what you think. I love Pucci. Do you hear me?
Is everybody here, you English woman?
Rico, he's got the Count's jewels.
Stop where you are, Mr. Lime. I've used this gun before.
Okay. Hold your fire, Buster.
I think I will shoot.
No,
this was a plan that both of you had, wasn't it? You and the girl.
Yes, Rico, it's true. I found out where the jewels were kept, and I love Pucci, and I don't.
Joan, you love me.
Oh, Pucci, darling.
Count della Robbia, this woman and this man have conspired to rob you.
That doesn't matter now. You love me, Joan.
I will shoot both of them, Count.
Yes, I love you.
Glorioso. Put down that ridiculous gun, Rico.
Oh,
yes, you've done your work, Kid Cupid. No need for those 38 caliber darts.
Oh, Pucci, we both tried to cheat you and rob you. I'm not what you thought I was. I've always lived on my wits. I'm a crook, and so is Harry.
Now, pardon me while I put a nickel on the drum.
Stop it, Harry. Pucci, we're both guilty. You can kill us, or you can turn us out, or
I can take you in my arms.
Oh, Pucci.
Stay where you are, Mr. Lime.
Sorry, your slightest swish of that gun is my command.
Just a moment, Carissima. I must take care of your friend, Mr. Lime. I'm sorry I cannot oblige you in the matter of the jewels.
Oh, of course. Now, don't apologize, old boy. Your wife will be needing all this ice to cool her neck on hot summer evenings.
Even so. And now I think it would be best for you to leave.
I quite understand. No need to show me the door.
I will show you to the door just the same.
Count, I'm a relatively simple man. My wants are few. Could I, for once, leave your presence without having this gargantuan gargoyle making like a Boy Scout?
Mr. Lime, I owe you some gratitude. After all, you did introduce me to Joan. I would like to repay you. I fear I can't.
I know. It's not the principle, it's the money.
But perhaps I can show you the high regard in which, despite everything, I hold you, by asking you to be best man at my wedding.
Count Della Robbia and Joan Della Robbia to be, and all the little Della Robbias to be. It will be a pleasure.
Oh, I'm so glad, Pooty, you don't hold anything against Harry.
Quite to the contrary. Goodbye, Mr. Lime.
Arrivederci.
And I will go to the door with you.
Oh, no. Another compound fracture would be too much in one busy week.
No, Rico. This man has brought me great happiness. We must allow him to live like an honest man.
Well, at least like an able-bodied man.
Who knows? Perhaps such treatment will actually make an honest man of Mr. Lime.
Count de la Robbie, I'm tremendously touched, but I hope I'm never that touched. Goodbye, my dear friend. Goodbye, Joan.
Goodbye.
Until the wedding, then. Goodbye, Rico. You'll make a wonderful flower girl.
Harry Lime returns in just a moment. And now, Harry Lime.
That night, leaving Venice, traveling up toward Milan on the train, I felt almost sorry that I couldn't, after all, be the best man at the wedding of those two people. But it was unfortunately necessary for me to leave Venice immediately, because, you see, on my way out of the Count's palace that night, unaccompanied, you may remember, by the ruddy Rico, I stopped to admire the little Tintoretto hanging in the entrance hall, the little picture which the Count had said was worth £2,000. As a matter of fact, that picture was worth £2,250, and I think I still have the dealer's receipt to prove it. So long now.
From 72 years ago, March 28, 1952, Orson Welles, The Lives of Harry Lime, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Would you visit our webpage, classicradio.stream? You can stream our shows, learn about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can find our social media links there, and you can support us by either buying something in the pinned post, or you can also buy me a coffee. That's all at classicradio.stream. Up next, Rochester, Jack Benny, and the Beanstalk.
America's fighting men need meat, the best meat, plenty of it.
That's the why of the share of the meat plan. That's why we civilians are holding our consumption to 2.5 pounds weekly.
As a housewife, I find I can still prepare delicious, nourishing meals. There's no limit on chicken and fish. And through my butcher, I'm discovering some wonderful new ideas.
Now, I'm your neighborhood butcher. You see, we want to help the housewives so we can serve all our customers fairly. Ask us for new recipes and interesting varied menus. We all must cooperate now. Be fair to your fellow Americans. Share the meat because
America's fighting men need meat, the best meat, plenty of it.
Thanks for listening to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. A few years back, and I don't remember exactly how I came upon these shows, but we came upon a number of original broadcasts of the Jack Benny Show, and, you know, they were transcribed, they were pre-recorded, and a number of these shows fell into a collector's hands, and I managed to get a hold of them and bring them to you. This is a show before editing, before the show was edited down. As such, it runs like 31 minutes. But sit back and enjoy Fluffs and All from 70 years ago, as it was broadcast 70 years ago, or before it was broadcast, March 28, 1954, the original recording of the Jack Benny Show, Jack and the Beanstalk.
The Jack Benny program, transcribed and presented by Lucky Strike.
Lucky's taste better, cleaner, fresher, smoother. Lucky's taste better, cleaner, fresher, smoother. For Lucky Strikes means fine tobacco, richer tasting, fine tobacco. Lucky's taste better, cleaner, fresher, smoother. Lucky Strike, Lucky Strike.
This is Don Wilson, friends. You know, after all is said and done, the reason anybody smokes is for enjoyment. The enjoyment that comes from the taste of a cigarette. Yes, smoking enjoyment is all a matter of taste. And the fact of the matter is, Lucky's taste better, cleaner, fresher, smoother. First, because they're made of fine tobacco. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco. Second, Lucky's are made better, made round, firm, fully packed to draw freely and smoke evenly. Fine tobacco in a better-made cigarette gives you better taste every single time. Next time, ask for Lucky Strike, because smoking enjoyment is all a matter of taste. And the fact of the matter is, Lucky's taste better. You'll know that's true the minute you light up a Lucky.
Lucky's taste better, cleaner, fresher, smoother. Lucky Strike, Lucky Strike.
The Lucky Strike program, starring Jack Benny, with Mary Livingston, Rochester, Dennis Day, Bob Crosby, and yours truly, Don Wilson. And now, ladies and gentlemen, spring has come to Southern California. So without further ado, we'd like to show you how a typical gentleman farmer is heralding the arrival of spring. The time, early afternoon. The scene, Jack Benny's backyard. The farmer, Jack Benny.
Da-dee-da-da-dum, dee-dum, dee-dum, dee-da-dum, dee-dum, da-dee-da-dum, dee-dum, yum, ba-bee-ba-ba, da-dee-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum, da-dum.
Gee, this section I planted last year came up nice. Look at those nice straight rows. 200 stalks of corn, 150 cabbages, 300 strawberry vines. One measly coffee plant. But who knew? Let's see now. I better get these string beans in. I'll set them right next to the tomatoes here. Well, there's one. Gee, I got 100 more to go. Oh, Rochester, I want you to come here and give me a hand.
But, boss!
Rochester, you've been in that swimming pool long enough. Now, come on.
But, boss, I'm not through planting the rice.
Never mind that. I need you here.
Okay.
So worried about the rice. Sorry I gave him those chopsticks for Christmas.
Here I am.
Well, you can start with this row here.
Boss, you're planting beans again?
Yes, why?
I thought you'd give up on beans after what happened last year. They were so small the bugs were picketing them.
Stop trying to be funny, Rochester. I'm going to plant beans, and this year they'll be the biggest ones in Beverly Hills. Now, let's get going. There. That one's in deep enough.
You sure look funny in those overalls and that old straw hat.
I do look like a farmer in this outfit, don't I?
With those long white gloves on, you look like Hildegard.
Well, I've got soft, lovely hands, and I'm going to keep them that way. I think I got some of these plants upside down. No, I guess they're all right. Dennis, don't mow so close to the tomato. Watch it.
I'm almost through, Mr. Benny.
Well, keep at it. And Dennis, when you're through mowing the lawn, I want you to water it.
Okay, I'll turn on the sprinkling system.
I haven't got a sprinkling system.
You have now.
What?
I thought the hose was a snake and shot it full of holes.
Dennis, that was a brand new hose, and I'm going to deduct the price of it from your salary.
I was afraid that would happen.
You were?
Yeah, boy, am I glad I saved the last bullet for myself.
Huh?
Well, here goes.
Dennis, put down that gun.
Tell Mother I won't be home for dinner.
Dennis, stop. Don't shoot yourself. I'll pay for the hose.
I knew you were yellow.
Never mind. You just get back to work. I'll hold on to the gun.
Okay.
Boss, I finished the row of string beans.
Good. Now we'll plant some celery.
You ought to plant pistachios. They're terrific.
But, Dennis, pistachios are nuts.
Okay.
Now, let's see. Hey, Rochester, look at these mushrooms here. I don't remember planting any mushrooms.
Those are toadstools, boss. They're poison.
No, Rochester. Go ahead and taste one. I think they're mushrooms.
You think?
Yes.
Well, until you're positive, my attitude is negative.
Oh, what a baby. Afraid to eat a little plant.
Uh-huh.
You know, Rochester, there's an old saying, a coward dies 1,000 deaths. A hero dies but once. Did you ever hear that saying before?
Yes, and I want to be able to hear it again.
All right, don't eat it. Who cares?
Oh, hello, Rochester. Oh, the garden looks lovely.
Thanks, Miss Livingston.
I see you got the scarecrow up already.
This is me, and you know it. Mary, did you buy that package of cucumber seeds like I asked you to?
Yeah, here they are. They were 10 cents.
Thanks. Gee, just think, Mary. I'm going to take these little seeds, plant them in the ground, and before you know it, vines will spring up with oodles and oodles of cucumbers on them. Isn't nature wonderful?
Yeah.
And, Mary, half of those cucumbers are going to be yours.
The heck with nature. Give me my dime.
Give me my dime. Give me my dime. You'll be sorry when the crop comes in. I feel it's going to be a big season.
Oh, you're some farmer. You and your crazy experiments.
They're not so crazy.
Remember last year? You sprinkled cheese all over the ground and tried to raise au gratin potatoes.
Sure, I sprinkled cheese. I had an idea. What are you laughing at?
Every other gardener around here had trouble with potato bugs. You had mice.
All right, but I still say it doesn't hurt to experiment. And California's just a place to do it. You know, Mary...
Oh, I only have a little more to go, Mr. Benny.
Okay. You know, Mary, I wouldn't laugh if I were you. I might turn out to be another Luther Burbank.
Who?
Burbank. Luther Burbank.
Oh, yeah, they named Glendale after him.
They named Burbank after him, not Glendale.
Oh, I guess I didn't analyze it.
You certainly didn't.
Well, see you later. Ding, 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 ding.
He always plays conductor when he mows the lawn. What a kid. Now, let's see. Oh, Mary, I was just having a little argument with Rochester here. Look, are those things there mushrooms or toadstools?
Those are toadstools.
They are? Well, I'm certainly glad you told me. I almost ate one.
You almost ate one?
Well, I mean, I would have eaten one after you did.
With me laying there?
All right, forget it. I better dig these up and throw them away.
I'm all through, Mr. Benny.
Good.
Then, Mr. Benny, as soon as your lawn needs cutting again, you'll be sure to let me know now, won't you?
I certainly will, and I appreciate your interest.
Well, I like to keep the grounds looking nice and in tip-top shape.
Good, good.
This is a beautiful place, and someday I might buy it.
Really, Dennis?
Yeah, I'll throw you out so fast it'll make your head spin.
Dennis, go home already.
Okay, goodbye already.
Goodbye already. Mary?
Yes?
Do you think Kenny Baker's too old to push a lawnmower?
Oh, Jack, every time Dennis gets you a little aggravated, you always...
Hello, Jack.
Hey, Mary, it's Bob Crosby. Hi, Bob.
Fine, Jack. Hello, Mary.
Hello, Bob. Out for a little walk today?
Well, not exactly. I told the boys in the band to pick me up here in our orchestra bus.
Oh, are you leaving town again?
Yeah, we got a one-night stand in Chicago.
A one-night stand? You and the boys are going all the way to Chicago for that?
Well, the boys just couldn't turn this down, Jack.
Gee, it must be quite an important occasion.
I'll say it is. Petrilla's dog is going to be a year old.
Oh, yes. Yasha Heifetz left this morning. Oh, Bob, I don't mean to be rude, but I want to get all these rows planted by 6 o'clock.
Well, why 6 o'clock?
As soon as it's dark, his help has to run for the border.
Mary, stop making things up. I do all the work myself.
Si, senor.
You keep quiet and put on a dry shirt. Say, Bob, as long as...
Well, that must be the boys, Jack. I better get going.
I'll walk around to the front with you, Bob.
I got to be running along, too. Say, Bob, it must be nice for the orchestra to have their own bus to travel around in.
Yeah, say, it's a nice bus, too. But, Bob, why is all that smoke coming out of the exhaust?
Well, kerosene always smokes that way.
Kerosene? Why don't you use gasoline?
Well, we tried that, but you see, when the boys smell anything over 80 octane, they run for the olives.
You mean they'd actually drink gasoline?
Well, Bagby even drinks the kerosene.
No.
Yeah, at night the boys stick a wick in his head and use him to read by.
Well, Bob, phew. Gee, those fumes coming from the bus are awful.
Shall I tell the boys to turn off the motor?
No, just have them close their windows. Oh, brother.
Well, I got to be going anyway.
Okay, Bob, I'll be seeing you.
So long.
Have a nice trip.
Bye, Bob.
Bye, Mary.
What a crazy gang. Look at them in the bus there.
Yeah, and look at that license plate. Brew 102.
Yeah.
Well, Jack, I better be getting home.
All right, I'll have Rochester get the car out.
Oh, no, Jack, it's such a nice day. I'd rather walk. I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, goodbye, Mary.
Bye.
Well, I suppose I better get back to work. Yeah, I've had enough for one day. I think I'll go in the house and clean up.
Fresh vegetables, tomatoes, lettuce, string beans. Hey, mister, would you like to buy some nice fresh veg? Oh, it's you.
What?
The comedian with the blue eyes and the green thumb.
Now, look.
You ain't fooling nobody with these petunias and tulips out here in front. I know what's going on in that backyard.
All right, so I raise a few things to eat.
Look, mister, I haven't made a sale all day. Why don't you give me a break and buy something?
Well, all right. I'll take a dozen oranges.
A dozen oranges.
2 dozen pears.
2 dozen pears.
And a half a dozen apples.
And a half a dozen... I knew it. Everything with seeds.
But...
It ain't enough you're growing vegetables. Now you gotta start with the fruits.
But I...
If you want me out of business, get an injunction. Goodbye.
Some businessman. If he's so worried about competition, why doesn't he buy me out? The Wang Fu Laundry did. Oh, well, I guess I'll go in and clean up. I'll just slip into this clean shirt.
Oh, hello,
here.
Jack.
Don, where'd you come from?
Oh, I came in the back way. I thought you'd be working in the garden.
Well, I was, Don, but I've had enough for one day now.
Gee, and I talked the sportsman into coming over to help you.
The sportsmen, where are they?
They're out there working now. I'll call them in.
Okay. Hey, wait a minute, Don. They don't seem to mind working in my yard. They're even singing.
They are?
Yeah, I'll open the window. We can listen.
From the vine came the grape, from the grape came the wine, from the wine came a dream to a love was back with Marie on the Isle of Capri, with a million stars shining above her. Vedono I ballando, baciando e vi, e di nuovo quel fuoco in me. From the vine came the grape, from the grape came the wine, and for Tony a wonderful time. From the seed came the plant, from the plant came the leaf, from the leaf came that fine light tobacco. That's what makes Lucky Strike, and that better taste you like. 20 perfect smokes in every pack-o. Light a Lucky, start puffin', and you'll say there is nothing with better taste. It's Lucky's I like. From the plant came the leaf, from the leaf came tobacco, from tobacco fine and light comes Lucky Strike. Yes, Lucky's the smoke you will like.
Gee, those boys are clever. They have a commercial for everything. And they're such good workers, too.
I'll get it, boss.
Okay.
Mr. Benny's resident, star of stage, screen, radio, television, and if the farmer's market hasn't got it, we have. What's that? Yes, he's right here. It's for you, Mr. Wilson. It's your wife.
Oh, thank you, Rochester. Hello, dear. Well, how many guests are we having for dinner tonight? Oh. Well, then I suggest we have hors d'oeuvres, soup, nice Caesar salad, and for meats, I'd say a couple of chickens, an 8-pound roast, and a chafing dish full of meatballs. Yeah, I think that ought to do it. You're welcome, dear. Goodbye.
Don, who's your wife having for dinner tonight?
Just me. The rest canceled out.
Remember what I told you? I should have known, Don.
By the way, Jack, perhaps you'd like to come over for dinner.
Oh, some other time, Don. You know, I've been working so much that I want to lie down for a while. You know, I'm kind of tired from all the gardening I've done.
Ah, Jack, don't tell me you planted vegetables again this year.
Certainly. Why shouldn't I?
I thought you'd give up after those awful beans you grew last year.
Look, Don.
Those beans were so lousy, even your garbage disposal threw them back at you.
Oh, stop.
So long, Jack.
Goodbye. Gee, I really am tired. I'm sleepy, too. I worked hard today. I think I'll lie down on the sofa here. Ah, that feels good. What's everybody picking on my beans for? So last year they weren't so big. This year they'll be great. That new chemical fertilizer is guaranteed to make anything grow. Say, I wonder if... Nah, it'll probably burn my head. I can't wait till those beans come up. I'll show everybody. I'll show everybody. The big beans. Real big beans. That's funny. Just a second ago, I was inside. What am I doing out here in the garden? Say, look what happened to my beans. The beanstalk goes way up to the sky, through the clouds. I can't even see the top of it. Well, I'm going to climb to the top. I'm going to be like Jack and the Beanstalk. I better take these gloves off. I still look like Hildegard. Well, here I go. Phew. Phew, I better rest. I must have climbed 500 feet, and I'm nowhere near the top. Gee, look how small everything looks down there. Hey, the rest of my garden is growing, too. Look at that tremendous honeydew melon. Oh, no, it's Sammy the drummer's head. Say, that little Bud next to him must be his son. That's right, his son's name is Bud. Well, I better start climbing again. Wow, I'm nearly a mile high. Gee, from way up here you can see everything in Beverly Hills. Look, there's the California Bank. And say, there's Esther Williams out in her backyard taking a sunbath. Gosh, what a predicament. I don't know which to look at. Gee, if I lean out real far, I can see the entire city of Los Angeles. Gee, it looks... Gee, the branch broke. I'm falling. I'll be killed. Gosh, I'm not even hurt a bit. Wow, am I lucky. I landed on the smog. I never knew the Los Angeles smog was thick enough to support you. But then it's been supporting comedians for years. Well, I better start climbing back up. Here I am at the top. Gee, look at this place. It's fantastic. Look at the trees. There's money growing on them. Gee, I'm a stranger in paradise. Hey, what's the matter? The sky is getting dark. Gee, what's that?
Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of a comedian. Be he alive or be he dead? Gee, his hair lifts right off his head.
Put that back! Say, are you the giant?
No, I'm the assistant giant. You better go see the giant. He owns this place.
Oh. Well, can you take me to him?
I haven't got time. I gotta mow these clouds. See you later. Ding, 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 ding!
Well, I better go see the giant, but I don't know where he lives.
Hello, Jackie boy.
Oh, hello. How are you?
Fine. Are you going to give me a great big kiss like you always do?
Sure. Here.
That was wonderful. Oh, kiss me again.
She has nothing to do with Jack and the Beanstalk, folks. I always dream about her. Well, I better go see the giant. Gee, I wish I knew where he lives. I'll ask that rabbit. Excuse me, Mr. Rabbit.
What's up, Doc?
I'm looking for the giant's house. Do you know where he lives?
Yeah, it's the second castle around the corner, Doc.
Thank you. And for being so nice, I'm going to send you a big bunch of carrots.
Oh, no thanks, chum. I'm on a diet. I was getting so fat I couldn't move.
No kidding.
Yeah, I wasn't happy because I was too hippie to hoppy.
Oh.
Say, why do you keep staring at me like that?
Oh, I didn't mean to be rude, Mr. Rabbit, but you remind me an awful lot of a friend of mine, Frank Remley.
Oh, is he a rabbit?
No, but he's got pink eyes, too. But his nose stays still and his head twitches. Well, I got to go to the giant's house.
So long, Benny.
So long, Bunny. I'm off to see the giant. Well, here's the giant's house. I'm going to knock on the door. Gee, look at the giant's laundry hanging out there on the line. Gosh, he has the biggest underwear I ever saw. The V in BVD looks like a Cadillac. Uh-oh, I hear someone coming to open the door.
Come in.
I'd like to... Wait a minute. Mary, what are you doing here?
I'm the giant's wife.
Just because I kissed that girl? You're the giant's wife?
And he's a big giant, too. He's 70 feet tall.
Gee. Well, I got to see him anyway. Is he home?
Yes, but I wouldn't try and see him today. He's in a terrible mood. He's very upset.
Why, what happened?
Somebody stole his elevator shoes.
Well, if he is in a bad mood, I've got to see him.
All right, I'll call him. There's someone here to see you, Poopsie.
Poopsie.
Shh. Here he comes now.
Say, are you the giant?
Yes, I'm a big one, aren't I?
Look, I want to discuss some business with you.
Well, you'll have to discuss it with my manager.
Oh. Well, who's your manager? He won't answer me. Mary, besides being his wife, are you his manager, too?
No.
Then tell me, who is the giant's manager?
Leo DeRocher, I knew you'd ask. Now, don't bother me. I have to feed my chicken that lays the golden eggs.
You have a chicken that lays golden eggs?
Sure. It's that one at your feet. Watch. Go ahead, chickie, and lay a golden egg.
Gosh, imagine that, a chicken that lays golden eggs. What do you call it?
Barbara Hutton.
Oh.
Now, you said you wanted to see me about business. What is it?
Well, your castle and everything else is on top of a beanstalk, isn't it?
That's right.
Well, the beanstalk is growing in my garden, so everything here belongs to me.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it doesn't. First, I'm going to take this wonderful chicken, the one that lays the golden eggs. Here, chick, 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 chick. There, I've got you. Come on.
That chicken's mine. Put it down.
No, sir, I'm taking it back to my house with me.
Well, I'm coming after you.
She's gaining. Oh, I ran off the edge of the beanstalk. I'm falling. Flap your wings, chicken, and give me some help. This is awful. I'm falling.
Boss!
I'll be killed.
Boss, wake up!
I'll be... Huh? Oh, it's you, Rochester. Gosh, what a dream I was having. Rochester, I dreamt I had a chicken that laid golden eggs.
Well, stop squeezing that pillow. All you're getting out of it is feathers.
Well, Rochester, fix me something to eat. That climbing gave me an appetite. Ladies and gentlemen, the very best Easter gift of all is the support you give through Easter seals to children who need your help. These seals provide medical care, nursery centers, and many other things that are needed. So give and give generously to the Easter Seal Agency in your community, or send your contribution to Crippled Children, care of your local post office. Thank you.
Jack will be back in just a minute. You know, I bet if someone asked you why you smoked, what it was exactly you liked about a cigarette, I bet the important word in your answer would be taste. Because, gee, isn't good taste what everybody wants in a cigarette? Smoking enjoyment is all a matter of taste. The fact of the matter is, Lucky's taste better. And there are two good reasons why that's true. In the first place, LSMFT, Lucky Strike, means fine tobacco. Naturally mild, good-tasting tobacco. And second, Luckies are made better to taste better. Made round and firm and fully packed to draw freely and smoke evenly. And that, friends, is the whole story. That's exactly why Luckies taste better. Because Luckies are made with fine tobacco and because they're made better. Why don't you try a carton soon? Golly, be happy. Go Lucky. How about it?
Lucky's taste better, cleaner, fresher, smoother. Lucky's taste better, cleaner, fresher, smoother. For Lucky Strikes means fine tobacco, richer tasting. Fine tobacco, Lucky's taste better, cleaner, fresher, smoother. Lucky Strike, Lucky Strike.
We're a little late, folks. We're a little late, folks. Good night.
Even in 1954, things would occasionally get crazy. By the way, in case you noticed, that was not Rochester. That was not Eddie Anderson as Rochester there. That was Roy Glenn, who many times in the show would be portrayed as Rochester's good friend Roy. Roy had he was born in Kansas, in Pittsburgh, Kansas, in 1914, and he was on Amos and Andy and Jack Benny and a lot of shows, and Rocky Jordan back in 1949 as well, and he did some motion picture work as well. 3 children, Roy Glenn Jr., Darrell Ward Glenn, and Renata Darlene Glenn. Roy Glenn died of a heart attack in 1971. He was just 56 years of age. Roy Glenn sitting in for Rochester in that, and I think in the final broadcast recording, Eddie Anderson came in, redid his lines so that they could be edited into the show, which was one of the great things about audio tape. You could do stuff like that. The Jack Benny, and interestingly enough, usually in the Jack Benny program, it's Mary Livingston who doesn't do her lines live, and they're edited in later. But today, she did her lines live. Go figure. 70 years ago, March 28, 1954, the Jack Benny program here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Tomorrow, we will have Gun Will Travel, Gunsmoke, yours truly, Johnny Dollar, The Mysterious Traveler, and Claudia. But up next, Gangbusters!
The welcome sound we've long been waiting for. The United States Third Fleet shelling Tokyo Bay. And paper helped make it possible. Yes, paper, your waste paper, makes the cylindrical cases in which virtually all shells are shipped from factory to fighting zone. When you burn paper, you destroy essential war material. But when you salvage waste paper, you help end a #1 war material shortage. Save every scrap of paper. Save wastebasket scraps, magazines and books, newspapers, brown paper and bags, corrugated boxes. Bundle them separately, turn them in regularly.
This transcribed announcement from the War Production Board is brought to you as a public service.
Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the Phillips H. Lord's program Gangbusters. This goes back just before World War II, March 28th, or before the U.S. entry, I should say, into World War II. 83 years ago, March 28th, 1941, Gangbusters and the Nickel and Dime Bandits.
Liniment, your faithful friend with muscles ache and pain, presents Gangbusters. Gangbusters, brought to you, the men and women of America, by the makers of Sloan's Liniment. With the cooperation of leading law enforcement officials of the United States, Gangbusters presents facts in the relentless war of the police on the underworld. Authentic case histories that show the never-ending activity of the police in their work of protecting our citizens. America's crusade against crime. Now for our proxy interview between Colonel Schwarzkopf and Judge L.D. Miller of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Picture our setting as a special office turned over to Gangbusters by Commissioner Louis J. Valentine of the New York City Police. Colonel Schwarzkopf.
Judge Miller, I understand that Charleson and Rogers, the Nickel and Dime Bandits, were hunted by the police of 6 states.
Yes, Colonel Schwarzkopf. Actually, 8 different police departments were after them within a period of 30 days.
But why do you call these particular criminals the Nickel and Dime Bandits?
Well, Colonel, James Carlson, the brains of the combination, had a theory of crime different from any criminal in all my experience.
I got a new slant on stick-ups that'll pay big dividends. I'm going to get me a smart partner that knows how to use a get. Then we're going to go through the Mississippi Valley pulling little jobs, nickel and dime jobs. When we pulled enough of these nickel and dime jobs, we'll have just as much jack as if we'd stuck up a dozen big banks.
On December 4th, 1939, following a term at Minnesota State Reformatory, Charleson drove up to a roadside tavern near Minneapolis. The owner was talking to a customer.
Be right with you, mister. Anything else, sir?
Oh, that'll be all, Bill. Charge it, will you?
With a fancy car like that, you want me to charge it, huh?
No fancy. Right behind you, pal. Turn around.
What?
Look out, Bill. He's got a gun.
A special kind of gun, mister, with a hair trigger. Come on, both of you. Back up into that hot dog joint before I turn this cannon loose on you. I want your dough.
Oh, I got some change.
Give it to me.
Here you are.
Now, you. Open up that cash register.
Here. $35. It's all I got.
I know it ain't. Scoop out that change and stick it in my pocket.
Nickels and dimes, huh? I'd like to see you for 5 minutes without that gun. Here's a change.
Thanks, white guy.
Now get out of here.
Not so fast, you. Empty your pockets.
Pretty brave, aren't you, with a gun?
Yeah, and it's liable to go off any minute.
No sawed-off punk's gonna take my dough.
I warned you, white guy.
Bill! You're not getting away from me.
I'll show you.
Give me that gun. You're all through, punk.
Let go of me.
You hurt?
Let go of me.
Yeah, I guess so. Pretty bad. I dropped all 3 of those bullets, but I got his gun.
You're gonna need a doctor. What'll we do with this guy?
Lock him in the washroom.
You make it all right?
Yeah, sure. I got the special gun, you rat.
Yeah.
Give me back my money.
All right. Here you are.
Now, come on, you into the washroom.
You'll never get me to jail.
Inside, punk.
Okay, white guy.
I'll lock it and then phone the police.
Better get an ambulance, Bill. You're bleeding bad.
Hello, operator. Get me the police.
Sit down, Bill.
What's that? The washroom window.
There. Up front. There he goes.
He's in his car. Stop! Stop or I'll shoot! Oh, it's jammed. That guy's special pistol jammed and saved his own life.
It is rare, Judge Miller, for the victim to turn on his assailant at gunpoint and disarm him.
It is, Colonel. Fortunately, the wounds of the tavern owner were not serious. Johnson made a dash for Chicago, where he went into partnership with another criminal named Joe Rogers. Together, they stole a late model car and started south, blazing a trail of robberies from Illinois to Louisiana. On the night of December 17th in Blytheville, Arkansas, Charleson and Rogers committed an unusual robbery, showing a peculiar obsession.
Blytheville, Arkansas, robbery. 2 men broke into a house and stole a large collection of pistols, automatics, shotguns, and rifles. Seen escaping in blue or black Dodge sedan. Notify all gun dealers to be on lookout for unusual weapons of foreign make.
A few days later, Colonel, Charleson and Rogers were in Minneapolis, waiting in a stolen new Buick sedan across the street from a small apartment house.
Boy, this is the life, huh, Rogers? You said it, Charleson. Cops and newspapers screaming about us from here to New Orleans. Nothing for us to do but sit back and take it easy.
I'd sure like a drink right now.
Yeah, so would I. Wish that baby of yours would hurry up.
It's only 10 past 11. I told her to sneak out at 15:15.
She made up her mind to come with us?
Hope so. You know me, Rogers. Wine, woman, and song.
Yeah, I know. But when are we going to quit this small-time stuff and go after something big?
Like what?
Banks.
Forget it, Rogers. Knock over a bank and every cop in the state's after you.
Just think of the dough we could pick up in banks. All we've been getting the places you pick is chicken feed. Nothing but nickels and dimes.
There's nothing you can't buy with nickels and dimes, Rogers. If you got enough of them.
Sure, but we could...
There's no buts to it. It adds up, see? And the rap for little jobs is nothing like it is for a bank.
But in one bank job...
Listen, sap.
Hey, take it easy, will you?
Banks have guards, and the guards have guns and tear gas. They have balconies to ambush bank bandits. They have burglar alarms to call the cops. Don't you see, we can get as much in a flock of gas stations as we could in a dozen banks. And no risk.
Maybe you're right.
The way I figure it...
Hold it, Charleson. Here comes your girlfriend.
Oh. Hello, baby.
Hello, Jim. Gee, I'm glad to see you.
You and me both. Get in the car.
Okay.
It's my pal, Joe Rogers.
Oh, pleased to meet you.
How are you?
Oh, what's up? Where are we going?
We're going south, kid. How'd you like to go with us?
South? Oh, gee, I'd love to, but what about my folks?
Send them a postcard.
Yeah.
Just say, having a wonderful time. I wish you were here.
Hey, what are you guys going to do?
We got special ideas. Swell clothes, good liquor, and plenty to keep us busy. What do you say?
I say, what are we waiting for?
Baby, you're going to be perfect. Let's go, Rogers.
Where to?
Back to New Orleans, where it's nice and warm. But we're going to make some stops on the way. And where we stop, nobody's ever going to forget us. This will be a joyride to remember.
That was near midnight, Colonel, on December 21st, 1939. 3 days later, Chief C.R. Bryan of the Chattanooga, Tennessee Police was sitting in his office when Police Captain Homer Edmondson walked in with a message in his hand.
Good morning, Captain.
Good morning, Chief Bryan. This just came in on the teletype. Thought you'd like to look at it.
Sweetwater, huh?
Yes, sir.
Arrest 2 men wanted here for robbery of roadside buffet this morning, 3 a.m. One man about 20, weight 150, blue eyes, light hair. The other one, older, weight about 140, dark hair, slender. Both bandits wearing leather jackets.
That's a pretty complete description, Chief.
These bandits took $60 in currency, cigarettes, liquor, and a large amount of nickels and dimes. They're heavily armed. Large amount of nickels and dimes. That sounds familiar.
You're right, Captain. This is the 6th report in the last few days that used those exact words.
Yes, and each report was near Chattanooga. Have you broadcast this message to the patrol cars?
Yes, sir. Right after it came in.
Send it out again, Captain. This is the first good description we've had of those men. If they try anything here, I want every man on the force to be waiting for them.
Right, Chief.
Wait a second. Chief Bryan speaking.
Send some cops over quick, Chief. I've just been robbed.
Who's this?
Jack Parker. I got a filling station at Main and Watkins. I just opened up 10 minutes ago and 2 guys walked in and...
Hold on a minute. Captain, there's been a holdup over at Main and Watkins, a filling station. Send a patrol car over there right away.
Right away, Chief.
Go ahead, Mr. Parker. What happened?
These 2 guys walked in, Chief. They both wore leather jackets. They had 4 guns between them and they cleaned out the cash register.
How much did they get?
$7. Almost all small change.
Nickels and dimes, huh?
Well, I know it don't sound like much, Chief, but it's a lot to me.
Mr. Parker, I don't care if it was 7 cents or $7 million. If these bandits are the men I think they are, they're going to try to pull some more jobs like this here in Chattanooga, and we're going to get them.
The next afternoon, Colonel, the woman manager of a small dry goods store in Chattanooga saw two men, apparently customers, walking into her store.
May I help you, gentlemen?
Yeah, let me see some shirts. The best you got.
And I want to see some socks and ties.
Certainly, right over here. What size shirt, sir?
15 collar, 34 sleeve.
And I want size 11 socks.
Here they are. Just take your pick.
That's just what we're going to do, sister. Stick 'em up.
Hold up.
Take it easy, sister. One peep out of you and I'll drill you.
Please.
Get down on the floor behind our counter. And don't move if you want to live.
Yes,
Pretty fancy-looking socks, pal.
Get some for me.
What kind of shirts you getting?
Silk, the most expensive I can find.
I'm going to make it fast.
Okay. These here look swell. Green silk. You ready, pal?
Yeah, let's go.
Hey, sister, where's your cash register?
There in back of the counter. But there's only a...
I know. There's only a little change. That's what they all say.
How much, pal?
$10 and about 5 and change.
Thanks for the service, lady. We'll be sure to tell our friends about you.
And remember, sister, if you move off that floor before we're out of this store, it'll be the last time you ever move.
Exactly 44 minutes later, Colonel, in a Chattanooga liquor store on the other side of town.
Will that be all, gentlemen? Just the 3 bottles of whiskey?
No, that ain't all, mister. Reach for the ceiling.
What do you want?
Don't shoot him, pal. The cops might hear you get.
All right? Keep them covered.
And what are you going to do?
I'm going to teach you not to be so nosy. That'll teach you to ask me what I want.
Now, please don't kick me again.
Come on, pal. Let's get out of here.
Get the dough.
Okay.
Take everything, even the small change. How much is it?
Yeah, there's about $90 here. Hey, here's something else, pal. A nice new gap for your collection.
Say, not so bad. Different from any I got. Maybe I ought to try it out on this wise guy.
No, please.
Okay, mister, but just so you won't run after us, here's something more to remember us. Buck.
Oh.
That brutal holdup was the third the Nickle and Dime Bandits committed in the heart of Chattanooga within 24 hours, Colonel. It redoubled the efforts of the police to catch Charleson and Rogers and resulted in a gun battle that Chattanooga will long remember. Law enforcement officers within a radius of 50 miles of Chattanooga cooperated. At a special meeting of police representatives at the office of Chief C.R. Bryant, all possible angles were discussed.
Fortunately, men, we have a complete description of these two bandits and definite identification clues.
What are they, Chief Bryan?
Well, first, Sussman, there's the nickel and dime angle. So anyone seen spending an unusual amount of silver is a definite suspect. Then there's the gun angle.
The gun angle?
It's this, Frazier. These men are crazy about guns. They take pride in them. Not just as weapons, but as items to collect.
So the bandits might just show off their guns sometime without staging a holdup, huh?
Particularly if they'd been drinking.
That's still another clue, Chief Bryan. The amount of liquor they consume, judging by the amount they've stolen.
And the girl with them.
The one that's been seen in their car. Now, we have her description.
All right, Captain Edmondson. These are all valuable clues, men. And we have one other advantage. From what these bandits have said to their victims, they don't expect the police to go after them seriously.
Just because the thefts have been relatively small, huh?
Exactly.
That gives me an idea, Chief.
What is it, Edmondson?
Maybe we can get these bandits through a weakness in their own system.
How, Captain?
Let's give these clues to every reliable citizen in the vicinity of Chattanooga. Every small storekeeper. Then when the bandits do show up again, they'll be spotted immediately.
Good idea.
I might get them.
Yeah. Well, then it's understood every available man is to stay on duty till these bandits are behind bars. I want them in custody before somebody gets killed.
Within 1 hour after that meeting, Colonel, merchants, filling station employees, liquor store proprietors, business people all over Chattanooga were planning to cooperate with the police.
Cooperate with police? Listen, I'm staying right here at the store. If those bandits come back this way, I'm going to be ready for them.
If those nickel and dime crooks come anywhere near me, I'm going to call the police. I'll know them if I ever see them again.
I'll be glad to cooperate. I've got a score to settle with those rats, and I'd like to see them both behind bars. If they ever come into my place, I'll...
Nickels and dimes, eh? I get it. If those buzzards stick their noses in my place, I'll be waiting for them. You can count on me.
That night, Colonel, December 26, 1939, at the Rock Castle Roadhouse, 10 miles west of Chattanooga, the cashier, Bill Raper, was standing behind his counter.
Hey, you, cashier.
Yes, sir?
I want a bottle of whiskey.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. We're not allowed to sell liquor in bottles, except to guests of Rock Castle.
I'm a guest here. Me and my pal are in one of the cabins right next door.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Sure. Here you are. That'll be $165, please.
You'll have to take it and change.
Change?
Fistful, buddy. Here.
25, 50, $10, 20, 30, 55, 65. Right. Thank you, sir.
You bet it's right. Say, what are you staring at?
Oh, why,
See anything wrong with me?
No, I was just thinking what a good-looking green silk shirt you have on.
Oh, that. Yeah. Yeah, it is good-looking. Everything I got's good-looking. Look at this.
Hey, watch.
Don't be scared. I ain't going to use it on you.
Boy, that's some pistol.
Bet your life it is. Special automatic. Only one like it in that country.
Yes, sir. Well, is there anything else you want?
Yeah, sure. I almost forgot. Give me some of those box lunches you got, huh?
How many?
Let's see now. 3.
Yes, sir.
3.
Here they are. Do you want me to carry them for you?
Yeah, that's right. I'm getting a little rocky.
Hey, Joe, take over, will you?
Okay.
I'll be right back. Let's go, sir. Now, which cabin is it?
Second one on the left.
This the cabin?
Yeah, I'll knock. Hey, open up. Come on, open up. It's me. Come on.
Pipe down, will you?
Come on, let me in. Where's Babe?
I reckon I'll be getting along, mister.
Yeah, sure. See you later, mister. Good night.
Yeah, I'll see you later. Operator, get me the police.
Police headquarters, Chief Ryan speaking.
Chief, listen, this is Bill Raper out at Rock Castle.
Yes, Bill?
Those 2 nickel and dime crooks you're looking for, they're here.
How do you know?
I'm positive, Chief. Every single clue you give me. The nickels and dimes, the guns, the liquor, everything checks.
Did you notice a car?
Yes, sir. It's a big, black, new 1940 Buick.
Where are they?
In a cabin right next door.
How many?
3 of them, sir. 2 men and a girl.
That's what I call fine cooperation, Bill. Sit tight and don't say a word to anyone. I'll send an emergency squad out there right away.
15 minutes later, Colonel, Captain Homer Edmondson, with a group of picked men from the Chattanooga police force, including Detective Shipley and Carson, met members of the county uniformed police under Captain Dyer outside the Rock Castle Roadhouse. The cashier, Bill Raper, was waiting for them.
Which cabin are they in, Mr. Raper?
That one with the lights on, Captain Edmondson.
All right, men. Sisman and Fraser, you stick with me.
All right, Captain.
Now, we'll go to the front of the house. Shipley, you and Carson cover the back with Captain Dyer. You got that?
Right, Captain.
What's our plan, Captain? Simply to close in and get those bandits. We can't start shooting till we're absolutely sure these are the men we want. But if they show the slightest resistance, open fire with riot guns immediately. Ready?
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Watch it. They turned out the lights. Better stand back. I'll knock. Open up.
Who is it?
Police.
Just a minute.
Hurry it up.
All right, coppers. Come and get it!
Get back, friend. Captain, just listen to those bullets bounce.
All right, men, open up with your riot guns.
Right, Captain.
Get down low, Babe. Those cops are using riot guns.
We'll fix them, Jimmy. I'll load your pistol.
Roger. Yeah? Cover the back door. I'll cover the front.
Okay, Charleson.
Come on, coppers. Try and take it.
You'd better give up in there. You're surrounded.
We'll give them hot lead. Give me another gat, Babe. This one's empty.
Here you are, Jimmy.
How is it in the back, Rogers?
Can't see him. It's too dark out there.
Well, they're all around us, Jimmy.
Keep down, Babe.
Oh.
Babe, you hit.
Oh, my head.
Told you to keep down. All right, coppers. You got my gal. I'll show you can't get away with that. Charleson, there's a copper creeping up in the back. You cover the front, Rogers. I'll get that cop. He's coming right up to the back door.
What are you going to do, Jimmy?
Shut up, Babe. I'm running this show.
hands, all three of you.
I'm waiting for you, cop.
Jimmy, you killed him.
I'll say I killed him. I got his gun, too.
Jimmy, they got Rogers.
Lie down on the floor, babe. I'll get him for that. All right, coppers. I got one of you. Who's next?
Edmondson.
Yes, Fraser?
They killed Shipley.
Shipley? How?
He broke in the back door, shot down before he had a chance.
Oh, the dirty dogs. Give me your rat gun, Fraser.
Yes, sir.
Mine's empty.
Captain, I'm going after him.
Now, wait, don't go up there. It's probably a trap.
There goes one of them out the side door.
Stop or I'll fire.
He's running for the woods.
I can't see him.
There, between those big trees.
Missed him.
It's so dark, I can't see.
Oh, we'll never find him in this darkness.
What do we do, Captain?
He might be hurt. Dyer, you and Carson follow him. I am going to get some bloodhounds.
What's the matter with the dogs, Captain? Why are they stopping? Too dark for them?
I'm afraid they lost the trail, Fraser.
What, after we've followed that bandit for almost 8 miles?
It's all right, Sussman. Those bloodhounds have told me just what I want to know.
That'll get you, Captain.
For the last 2 miles, the bandits' trail has followed right along these railroad tracks.
That's right. But now we've lost it. I can't see what that
We're
is.
headed toward Chattanooga, not away from it. Doesn't that mean anything to you men?
You mean you thought maybe the bandit would jump afraid away from Chattanooga?
No, Sussman. I thought he'd head for Chattanooga, but I couldn't be sure. Now I know he's gone back to the city, where we can lay our hands on him.
With one of the Nickel and Dime Bandits, Joe Rogers, dead, Colonel, and the bandit's girlfriend in a prison hospital, the Chattanooga police combed the city for the remaining bandit, now definitely identified as James Charleson. Later that night, after visiting hundreds of rooming houses, 2 police officers, Patrolman Fraser and Sussman, climbed the stairs of a cheap rooming house an hour after midnight.
What number did the landlady say, Fraser?
Room 6.
It's room number 6, right up there at the head of the stairs.
Yeah. Landlady said her new boarder arrived an hour ago.
Have your gun ready?
Bet I will, Sussman. You turn on your flashlight. I'll try the door.
Right.
Door's unlocked.
That's lucky. Careful now. Easy. There, he's in bed.
Sound asleep.
Wonder if he's the guy we want.
He's pretty young for a bandit. Let's make sure, Sussman. Pull down the covers.
A pistol there in his right hand.
And another one next to him.
He's starting to wake up. Grab him.
I'm with you.
Look on that. I didn't do nothing.
I got him, Fraser. Put the bracelets on him.
Charleson, you're all through.
You cops are crazy. I'm not the guy you want.
No. You're all right, Fraser. Let's see those 2 guns.
That don't prove nothing, copper. I didn't kill nobody. I like guns. See, I collect them.
Yeah? Well, this is one gun you never should have collected, Charleson. It's the gun you took from Detective Shipley after you killed him. And it's the last gun you're ever going to collect.
And so, Colonel Schwarzkopf, through splendid police work and excellent citizen cooperation, the criminal activities of James Charleson came to an abrupt end. Placed on trial in my court for robbery and murder on February 27th, 1940, he was quickly found guilty. I sentenced him to life imprisonment in the Tennessee State Penitentiary. He's there at this very moment.
And what happened to the girl who was with Charleson and Rogers, Judge Miller?
For months, she hovered between life and death with a bullet touching her brain. The doctor said her mental faculties would be impaired indefinitely, and under the circumstances, she was freed in the custody of her parents.
Thank you, Judge Miller, for a fine case. I'm particularly pleased with the way you brought out the great value of public cooperation with the authorities. When the police thus frankly solicit help from our law-abiding citizens, and those citizens promptly and comprehensively cooperate, no criminal can escape. Every time the police and the people work together, the end is inevitable. Crime does not pay.
And now, the clues.
Special bulletin, all citizens. Watch for murderer 24, 5 feet 5 inches, 135 pounds. Dark brown hair slicked back, brown eyes. This man with tall, sandy-haired companion having wrinkled face, wanted for brutal murder several days ago, refrigeration engineer near San Antonio, Texas, may be traveling in black Ford station wagon and may have in possession a .44 caliber Smith & Wesson revolver with cedar handle.
Warning, citizens of Pennsylvania, be on lookout for man 28, 5 feet 8 inches, 160 pounds, brown hair, gray eyes, occupation farmer. This man wanted in connection with feud slaying last week, Indian Head section of Fayette County, Pennsylvania.
If you have any information concerning these clues, notify your local police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or Gangbusters at once. For Sloan's Liniment next week, the case of the missing corpse. Here reenacted for the first time, the inside factual account of one of the most fantastic cases in all criminology. Learn how a dead man faced his murderer. Sloan's Liniment brings you one of Philip H. Lord's most astounding dramatizations in America's Crusade against crime.
The gentleman you hear referred to as Schwarzkopf in this as the narrator of the show was, in fact, Norman Schwarzkopf Sr., the father of Norman Schwarzkopf, the person whom we know as the Gulf War general. He originally served in World War I. He was initially commissioned as a second lieutenant coming out of West Point, and he would go in with the American Expeditionary Forces. He was gassed with mustard gas. He was susceptible to respiratory illnesses for the rest of his life. But he was eventually promoted to the rank of colonel. Then he was appointed in 1921 by New Jersey Governor Edward I. Edwards to head the newly formed New Jersey State Police. He worked in that for a number of years, and he was, in 1926, commissioned a lieutenant colonel in the New Jersey National Guard, and then he was commissioned as a major in the Organized Reserve. He served as the lead investigator in the Lindbergh kidnapping over the years. He was dismissed from the New Jersey State Police in 1936 after a personality clash with Governor Harold G. Hoffman. He would be narrator for a period of time of Gangbusters, as you heard in this episode today. He did return to active duty in the Army with the onset of World War II, inducted into federal service, and he would be promoted to Major General. And he, quite frankly, he was also appointed by the New Jersey governor to examine and investigate Robert B. Minor, to investigate the management by Harold G. Hoffman, the former governor, the one who fired him. Both Schwarzkopf and Hoffman, active members of the Adventurers Club of New York. Major General Schwarzkopf died in 1958 from complications of lung cancer. He is buried at West Point University. A little bit of episode about the first General Norman Schwarzkopf. This one a major general, served in World War I and World War II. And his son would serve the nation ably in the Gulf War. All righty, a little bit of history for you here on this historical program. I always tell people, they wonder why I talk so much on this show, and quite frankly, this show is not just about the great old radio shows, it's about history. We will get back to the great old radio shows now, up next on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. After I remind you one last time, tomorrow, Have Gun Will Travel, Gunsmoke, yours truly, Johnny Dollar, The Mysterious Traveler, and Claudia. And coming up next, The Adventures of Jungle Jim.
Pennsylvania Special Track 10, Pittsburgh, Akron,
Well, Mary, I got the last 2 seats on the 545. Now we can visit your brother over the holidays.
Have you got a match, mister?
Sure, soldier. Say, you look blue.
I am blue. My buddy and I got Christmas furloughs. Last chance to get home for a long time, and now there's no room on the train.
Oh, what train you going to take?
545.
Look, come over to the ticket window. I've got 2 seats on that train, and they're yours. I'm not the man who keeps a soldier from getting home this Christmas.
Listen, America. Trains and buses are swamped with servicemen and supplies. Is your trip necessary? Be an American. Stay home yourself and help our soldiers and sailors get home for Christmas.
Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox wraps up now with the Adventures of Jungle Jim. 88 years ago, March 28, 1936, the story of the Batwoman.
Presenting the Adventures of Jungle Jim. Last week, Jungle Jim and the Reverend Chalmers carried Shanghai Lil, who had been shot as she stood in front of her jungle altar, to her plantation house. There they discovered that although wounded, she would recover. After he had dressed her wound, Jim said goodbye to the Batwoman, but she refused to say goodbye to him, telling him she loved him, and he'd be seeing her again. Collecting their things, Jim and the Reverend Chalmers left the plantation. Soon afterwards, they met Lynn Chalmers and Kolo, who were hurrying to their aid. After a joyful reunion, Kolo showed Jim where Jacques Labat had jumped off a cliff and killed himself. The thrilling adventures of Jungle Jim are pictured each Sunday in the Comic Weekly, the world's greatest pictorial supplement of humor and adventure. The Comic Weekly, each page printed in full colors, is distributed everywhere as an integral part of your Hearst Sunday newspaper. And now we continue our story. In her bed up in the plantation house, Shanghai Lil tosses restlessly.
Niji. Niji, you black witch, where are you? Here, Niji, Missy. Where do you always disappear to? When I want you, I have to shout my lungs out because you're not around, and it still hurts me to raise my voice. Of course, you're not interested in that.
Yes, Missy. Niji put clean cloth on Missy's neck.
All right. That's not what I called you for. Where's Mamba?
Niji no see Mamba, Missy.
Has he run away, too?
Maybe, Missy.
Ouch! Go easy, will you? That's my neck you're working on, and it's sore.
Yes, Missy.
Yeah, I'll take the bandage off myself. You fix the medicine.
Yes, Missy.
Jim and the Reverend left while I was asleep, did they, Nietzsche?
Yes, Missy. White ones catching things belong them. Go.
And you haven't seen Mamba since?
No, Missy. No see.
Give me my hand mirror. Oh, heavens, I look a sight. No wonder Jim said goodbye.
Yes, Missy.
Just your face. If anyone can say the wrong thing at the right time, you certainly can. Give me that bandage. I'll do my throat up myself. Get my clothes, Niji. I'm getting up.
White Swan say you stay bed.
He did, eh? Well, never mind what the White Swan said. You get me my clothes.
Yes, Missy.
And you wait until I get my hands on that Jacques Labat. I'll fix him for this. Just another moment, and the parson would have said the words that tied the marriage knot.
Yes, Missy.
Of all the rotten luck. I finally get Jim and the parson into a spot where Jim says he'll marry me. The sky pilot starts reading the will vows, and bang, everything goes black. I still think I answered the parson before I was shot. Here, you can take this away.
Yes, Missy.
No, not the mirror. This bandage. If I answered the parson's question, then Jim and I are as good as married. Oh, I wish I knew where he is. If I knew... What was that, Niji?
Shell, Missy.
Mamba was the only one to blow a shell. See if that's Mamba.
Yes, Missy. Mamba back. Him come now.
Come in.
Missy,
Well, where have you been, Mamba?
me look see where white swans go.
Oh, you trailed Jim and the Reverend, eh?
Yes, Missy.
Well, where'd they go?
Go by look see boys out there.
Past my sentries at the boundary line. Yeah, go on.
Find native boy and white Missy.
What? I didn't get rid of him when I fired my gun into those moving leaves?
No, Missy. Native boy, white Missy, lie.
Oh,
All go down Burwani.
so that's why Jim wouldn't marry me, because of that girl. Mamba, while I'm getting dressed, you get my air canoe ready. I'm going to have another talk with Jungle Jim.
When Lambert told Shanghai Lil that Jim, Colo, Lynn, and the Reverend were going to Burawani, he didn't know they were heading for the camp, which was deserted when the missionary was captured and taken to the plantation. It is at that camp we now find them.
Well, folks, here we are, right where we started from.
Yes, it seems ages since I pitched the tent.
I think we're all lucky to be coming back to it.
That's right, Lynn, we are. Kolu,
This is one.
let's have a look-see if our canoe is still hidden in the bushes.
While you're doing that, Jim, Lynn and I will take stock of our things in the tent. Come along, Lynn.
Right with you, Father.
Now, let's see, Kolu. First, if I haven't almost forgotten myself where we hid that canoe.
Welcome there, Tuan Jim.
You think so, Kolu? All right. Let's look over here, then.
Look, Tuan Jim. Welcome.
The canoe. You were right, Kolu. Here, grab a hold of that end of it, and we'll see if she'll float.
Well, all our stuff's all right. They evidently only wanted to get Lynn and me. How's your canoe, Jim?
Looks okay. Just testing it to make sure it'll still float. All right, Kolu. Let your end in the water.
Well, there it goes. Looks good and seaworthy to me, Jim.
Yeah, so far, so good. Now, Kolu, get our gear stowed away. We're shoving off pretty quick. I don't suppose you care to hang around here any longer either, Reverend.
No, I don't particularly care about it, Jim, but I'm going to.
What? You aren't coming back with Kolu and me?
No, Jim. My place is here with these natives. I must lead them from the pagan worship of the Batwoman to the paths of righteousness.
But now that Labar's dead, perhaps Shanghai Lil will leave these parts. She won't be able to control the natives alone.
True, Jim, true. But she may get herself another overseer, you know. And if she does, I must be on the field of battle.
I can understand how you feel, Reverend, but I still think you might just as well come back with me now. Lily DeVril is all washed up as far as that Batwoman stuff is concerned. Why, you heard what Labar told Kolu just before he jumped off the cliff.
Yes, I know. He said there was no more mumbo-jumbo, and that your boys should spread the word. I hope he told the truth, Jim. At any rate, I'm going to stay here and see that there's no more black magic.
But what about Lynn?
Lynn's staying with me.
I'll be glad to take her out of the jungle for you, sir. I'll see that she gets back to civilization again.
Thanks very much, Jim. I couldn't ask you to do that. You've done enough for us already. Besides, Lynn has made up her mind that she'll never be separated from me again.
Well, I'm sorry I can't persuade you to come back with me. Good luck to you, Reverend.
Thanks, Jim. The same to you. Kolu ready, Tuan Jim.
Why, Jim, you're all packed up. You aren't leaving us.
Yes, Lynn. Kolu and I are shoving off. I'm not needed here anymore.
Are you sure about that?
Sure. You and your father are together, safe and sound again.
Yes. But it will seem strange not having you around, Jim.
I bet it will. Nobody to order you around the way I did.
Not just that, Jim. I meant... Well, never mind. It doesn't matter what I meant. Jim, I want to thank you for everything. If I had obeyed Father and stayed at the hotel, I wouldn't have caused you all this trouble.
Forget it, Lynn. I had a swell time. And I want you to know that I think you are
Yes, Jim?
the luckiest girl I've ever met.
Oh.
Yes, sir, Reverend. You can be proud of this daughter of yours.
I am.
Well, I guess everything's all ready for Kolo and me to shove off.
Take care of yourself, Jim. And as soon as I repair the spiritual damage done by Lily DeVille, Lil and I will be coming down to civilization again.
I hope that's a promise you can keep soon. All right, Kolo. Let's push along.
Yes, it's one, Jim.
Good luck to you both.
Good luck to you, Jim, and thanks again.
Goodbye, Jim.
So long, folks. I sure will be looking forward to seeing you again.
What we do now, Tuan Jim?
The first thing we do is look up Patrick O'Shaughnessy Flynn. After that, well, you know as much about it as I do, Kolo.
Meanwhile, back at the cafe, a Chinese gentleman dressed in Western clothes enters and goes up to the bar.
Well, sir, what'll you be having today?
Kindly give one small glass beer, please.
One small glass. You're sure that won't be too much for you?
No, thank you. Shall be quite able to dispose that amount.
I should hope so. Well, every man to his own taste. Yeah. Here you are.
Thank you.
sounding like airplane.
Airplane. Holy St. Patrick.
May one so humble as self ask why putting away glasses? You closing up Honorable Cafe?
Me friend, I never see you before you started coming here 2 days ago. So I'm sure you don't realize what that airplane means. It means the worst element down here is about to drop in.
Very interesting.
And if she has with her who I think she has, you'd better get out before that French-Canadian pokes his ugly face in here and starts trouble.
So sorry, not wishing to annoy.
Just looking at you'll be enough for this fella Labat. He's one tough customer. I'm putting away this glassware just to be on the safe side.
Hello, Flynn.
Shanghai Lil, you and that... Why, where's your pet ape, Labat?
Labat? Labat is dead.
Dead? Lord have mercy on him. That's the best news I've heard in months.
I saw his body lying at the bottom of a cliff. Good riddance to bad rubbish, I say.
For the first time in my life, I agree with you, Lily DeVril. Well, now, what brought you down here? Looking for a new foreman?
Yes, in a way.
What do you mean by that now?
Who's the China boy down there at the end of the bar?
I don't know. He started coming in 2 days ago and just orders this beer and goes out.
Well, wait until I get rid of him. Listen, my slant-eyed friend. If you finish your drink, get on your way. The bartender and I want to talk privately. Savvy?
Very kind lady for suggestion. Quite understand. Excusing, please.
Now, Flynn, you're Uncle Jim's friend.
I am that. To the last drop of strength in these 2 arms and the last breath of life in me body.
I know that he comes to see you the first thing when he hits town.
He does that.
Where is he now? I want to see him.
I don't know, Lil. I ain't seen him for 2 months. Not since he piked off after the Reverend and his daughter.
Well, he's been my guest for the past few weeks.
What?
Oh, but he left my plantation and started down here. He must be due here if he hasn't already arrived.
Say, if Jim has come to town and not passed the time of day with me, his old friend Patrick O'Shaughnessy Flynn...
All right, Flynn, you seem to be telling the truth. I'll just hang around town a while. I want to see Jim about something. Well, it's the China boy again.
Begging pardon, please. Would be possible for one so lowly as self speak honorable bartender alone, please?
Sure, why not?
It's okay, tea leaves. The joint's all yours. Well, so long, Flynn, for now. I'll be seeing you around.
Yes.
Honorable lady seems in position take great liberties.
Begorra, you're right about taking liberties, but I'm afraid there seems to be some questions as to the lady being honorable.
Indeed. That's very interesting.
Well, let's forget her. What else do you want to see me about?
Please, was given to understand I should meet Honorable Jungle Jim here. Can give information how can contact him?
Sure, and Jim ain't been here for 2 months or more.
Oh, very disappointed to hear that. Have message for him.
Oh, but wait now. I'm just after hearing he'll be pulling in here any day now. Can I give him the message for you?
Most kind, but afraid not. However, would you do me favor of presenting Honorable Jungle Jim with this letter upon arrival?
Sure, and I will that.
Thank you. It is of utmost importance.
Unknown to Jim, the river bears him toward the greatest adventure of his life. The dramatization you have just heard was taken from a scene of Jungle Jim, which appears in full-color action pictures in the Comic Weekly. The big Comic Weekly distributed with your Hearst Sunday newspapers everywhere. In the Comic Weekly you will find all of the important characters who live in the world of color pictures, including Skippy, Bringing Up Father, The Little King, Barney Google, Toots and Casper, the Katzenjammer Kids, and many, many others. Don't forget our date, next week, same time, same station, for a continuation of the adventures of Jungle Jim.
promoting those newfangled Sunday color comics. 88 years ago, March 28, 1936, The Adventures of Jungle Jim, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Our webpage, classicradio.stream. Tomorrow's show, as I mentioned, Westerns and Drama. And be with us for our Friday edition of the program. Have yourself a great Thursday. Classic Radio Theater. I'm Wyatt Cox.